6:15 to 6:30. Down is off. Down. All right, y'all. Here we go. We're gonna kick off real soon here. And now it's time to go to Studio B to reliable representation with your host, favorite Nelson, and your co-host, Green Bowl. All right, good evening out there, District 66, Hines County, Byram, Terry, and surrounding areas. You have tuned into the one and only reliable representation talk show where we have a lot to unpack this evening. And we also have a special guest that you got to stick around to find out who it is. And so we're going to turn to the church announcements real quick. How you doing over there, Mother Bowman?
I'm okay. How about y'all tonight?
We're here. How about that? We're happy to be here and happy to be, seen and not viewed.
What y'all have going on? How was the week last week? Last week.
My week last week, it was pretty good. Now, if you want to talk about my day yesterday, oh my goodness, that's all that I can say. We wrapped up our first extraordinary session of 2025, in which we were able to pass a budget in the House of Representatives to send it over to the Senate and see what they were going to do with it. There were several issues on the budget in regard to us not actually seeing the budget. So we passed a $7.5 billion budget with about 45 minutes to read all of the bills, which were about 300 pages. And so we went strong until about 1:30 this morning because, when you're dealing with taxpayers' dollars, you want to make sure that you're properly vetting things, that you're not voting blindly on them. Some of these budget bills I did not vote in favor of, for the reason being I didn't have a chance to review them, and I value the taxpayers' money too much just to go in there and vote blindly on the bill. But nonetheless, we have it done. It's over in the Senate, and they're still deliberating over the bill. So we're going to see what they decide to do in regards to our state budget.
Oh wow! I kind of saw bits and pieces. But I'm hopeful that it'll be for the betterment of the people. So we'll just stick around and see what happens.
We are going to be nonetheless optimistic about it, and pray and hope that things do work out, because people here in Mississippi deserve the best. And we talk about $7 billion. That's a lot of money to make sure that you're putting it in the right places. There were some state agencies that lost funding. There were some state agencies that gained funding. And so we have to make sure that we're being good stewards of the taxpayers' money. I know going forward, we need to start having talks early, like right now, as to what we're going to be doing next year to make sure that this does not happen again. Because when you're doing something like passing a budget, you really need more than just a day or so to get it done. There are so many details in there. And we got a spreadsheet a few days before we went into session. And the spreadsheet listed the agency. It listed how much we were going to be budgeting. It listed how much we budgeted last year. And that was it. And for me, that wasn't enough, because when you're looking at a budget, you have to look at each individual line item and say, okay, this is going towards salaries. This is going towards travel. Oh, this is going towards a new computer system. So you cannot blindly give money to anybody and say, hey, we hope that you're going to do the right thing with it. We have to have checks and balances in place, and that's why we have a budget. So, it was very disappointing that we didn't have these budget bills in front of us, and there were 100 budget bills that we took up. So it's very disappointing that we didn't have those budget bills in front of us prior to going to session.
Wow. Sounds very, very busy. I know you're probably tired. That's a lot of work.
Ready to go home and go to bed. I didn't even sleep last night. I got home about 2, and I sat there and had names and faces food. So I sat there and ate those chicken wings, those shrimp and fried pickles, and had acid reflux and gas. So I was up.
Wow. Well, I do want to say congratulations to all graduates. We've been participating in a lot of graduations. So I sound a little congested to all this. The weather change. It's my seasonal allergy.
Let me put my mask on. Okay.
I don't have always does too much and not enough when he's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
However,
good evening to you, Mr. Hobson.
Was phenomenal. I do want to say to the young people, the sky's the limit. Take wings of an eagle. Spread your wings and fly and soar. Jackson is not the only place. that you can succeed. However, some of us have made Jackson home, but to each of you who want to go abroad, whatever state, city that is, definitely take advantage of it. Opportunities don't come frequently, but when they do, I definitely want to commend you to tell you to take your wins. You can take that mask down. I don't have COVID. I just have a sinus infection.
You had a COVID test yet?
I've been to my treatment. I went to the doctor as well, and I'm good.
You got the
I got
test?
my shots. I'm not going through that with you. So anyway, you all, I do want to say this as well. We want to thank Representative Nelson and his colleagues for what they're doing in the Capitol, because what they do definitely directly impact our lives. Hoping they don't cut education, because we definitely need education funding so that we continue the work that we do on a daily basis. Now, I do want to go on the national level. You all have not seen President Trump has been making significant cuts in budgets and different things that are affecting our international population. I speak on that because I work with international students daily, and so a lot of them are being impacted. And so they're scared, they're on pins and needles because of deportation, as well as a lot of them come here, they work a year on a visa, on a student visa, and then they try to apply for STEM OPT, which gives them that extra 2 years, so they're guaranteed 3 years in the U.S. to work. So you all be prayerful for those, and definitely be prayerful for me, because if he deports more international students, then that might put my job on the line. So I definitely love what I do, love helping the domestic students. My passion is definitely with my job. I've been with Jackson State for quite a while. I've moved up the ranks, and so I'm grateful to God for my position and how my position has led me to a place of success, and how I'm able to benefit others. So when you pray tonight, I know how we feel about, the international foreigners, but definitely all of them are not bad. And so definitely pray for them, because a lot of them are on edge as the semester has ended. And now, if you all notice about Harvard, and now North Carolina is being attacked. So definitely just be prayerful of them. And so we can move this country in a better direction. But again, we do have to obey those who have ruled over us.
And can I add on to that just a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
I see all the time, so many people have social media posts saying, send them back to where they came from, so-and-so, so-and-so. Well, if that applied to everybody, none of us would be here.
True.
We have to realize that we came here, some of us involuntarily came here, but we were here. This country was established to allow people freedom of religion, freedom of, no taxation is what really happened, but we pay a lot of taxes. But a country was created so that people could be free to have all of their rights. And so for us to just tell people to go back to where you came from, that should not be accepted. You can't say that one group of people, all the people in the group are bad. I mean, we have bad apples in every single group of people that we look at. And so we have to be more compassionate with people. We have to understand people have come here to find a better life. America is called land of opportunities, American dream, for a reason, because you can come here and be absolute whatever it is you want to be. And so we got to be really careful, with those things. And when you look at what we see happening, like even here on the state level, that turmoil is coming from the things that are happening on the federal level. Mm-hmm. We're doing a lot of things here in Mississippi to mirror the things that are happening on the federal level. And Ms. Bowman, just to kind of go down the line about education, I'm happy to say that we did fully fund education again this session.
I still ain't got my 10 million, but I'm
yeah, so we did. We did fund education. Now, something that we did do is we did cut funding on education to like private schools. So we had where independent schools that were not publicly owned, where we gave grants to them for like maintenance and things of that sort. So that money we did away with all of that, which personally, I don't have a problem with that, because we have to make sure that we're fully funding our public education. And so that's one thing I'm happy about. Another thing I'm happy about is Medicaid. We actually gave about $56 million more dollars into the Medicaid budget. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that's not enough to do. It's just a drop in the bucket when you talk about how much we're suffering. But I'm happy that we didn't cut funding and we gave a little bit more over to Medicaid. So there were some things in the budget that were better, that I anticipated. We didn't get the ideal, the dream budget. But the real thing that we're going to be looking at is we need to really see what's going to be happening on the federal level, because the federal level, we get about $13.5 billion, which is 2/3 of our state budget. And so that's going to tell a picture and paint the story as to what things are going to look like, around here. One thing that was a huge, huge, huge disappointment to me is the fact that we did not get any money for capital projects. So when I talk about capital projects, these are projects that we have that are, in our districts. In my district, we had a project, we needed some drainage and we needed a fire station. So that means we're not going to get those services for my constituents that pay their tax dollars each and every day. So that's very disappointing, but nobody's getting that. But let me tell you what happened, Ms. Bowman. Are you ready for this?
I'm at the edge of my seat.
You need to be. Senate Bill 2050 is the last bill that came up. And guess what was in the bill?
What was it?
A capital project.
No, man.
It was a capital project bill for 145670, $18 million. $13 million was going to go to LaFleur's Bluff State Park. $5 million was going to go to some type of program over at JPS, which I think was about 100 students. And, it was pretty much on the wish list of the lieutenant governor. So it came up, and guess what happened to it?
What happened? Veto.
We voted no on it. We voted no on it because we cannot stand for giving pet projects to one person and when the rest of the state is suffering. This money has to be spread all across the state. I think it would be nice to give $13 million to LaFleur's Bluff State Park. I would love to do that. However, when I help people in my district that are suffering from drainage issues, when I help people in my district that have their insurance, homeowners insurance, it's increasing $500 a year because of no fire coverage, we're not sending $13 million to make a park beautiful. And so it's either all or nothing. So we stood strong and we voted against that bill. If it comes back again, we will vote against it again. So I'm happy that we were able to come together as a house and vote against something that was not beneficial, because we have to realize we only represent each 122 of us only represents one house district. However, when we vote on legislation, it affects the entire state. So we have to make sure that we're looking out for every single person. We can't be selfish and say, oh, this is going to my district, and forget about the Delta or forget about the coast. So we have to make sure that we're doing every single thing that's going to help the entire state and not hurt anybody when we're making this legislation.
Totally agree.
So that's your quick legislative update. Y'all make sure y'all tune in later. I'm going to be going live a little later just to kind of break the budget down and some things that kind of happen. It's 30 minutes, an hour. It's not long enough. So we're going to be on Facebook Live probably around 8 or 9 o'clock this evening, kind of talking about it a little bit more, because there are a lot of things. And Brittany, you saw, because you were right there with me, texting, and so you saw some of the tricks and things with the chipmunk reading the bills. So
that got me. I was like, what is this? I was texting, what is this?
When I sent Brittany the video, she talked about, send me the video again because it's messed up. Right. I said, no, that's the video. This is how the bill reader does. It's ineligible when we listen to bills, and we had all 49 House bills read.
Wow.
So, Ms. Bowman, I'm going to kick it back over to you before we bring our special guest that everybody's ready to hear from.
Well, as we go to, when near the end, you all will definitely be back next week for a longer period of time to discuss, because we'll have a new mayor and all that good stuff. So we'll definitely be back for a full hour. So I do want to say to you all, as we prepare for a new mayor, it's kind of like your mom gives you that lecture before you finally leave home for good. She gives you that going away speech. And so to each and every one of us that has equity in Jackson, whether that's community service, whether that you're a resident, whether that's working in Jackson, you all, Jackson is a jewel. Let's pour into Jackson. Now, I know I may get a lot of backlash. I'm like, baby, we always get it, so it's kind of normal.
I'm immune to it now. My skin got so much thicker.
So I just want to say this, you all. When you're choosing your next mayor, make certain that person's goals and morals aligns with your personal beliefs. If it doesn't, then that's an automatic no. Don't go along to get along. Whatever popular is not always right. As you all hear me say, it's like kind of like a broken record. Baby and I argue every day, like almost maybe 4 times a day. I don't think we had an argument yet today, so we're doing good, but the night is not over. The night is still young.
Oh, I got some catching up to do. I'm getting old and new real soon.
So when we do, it's a spat. We go, we call each other out our names, but at the end of the day, the goal still remains the same. We know that we're in it to death. Our friendship is truly genuine, and we want what's best for each other. And you need to have the same outlook on your mayor candidate. I don't care how much money they got. Money does not replace work. I'm sorry, you all. You can have $1 billion, but if you have no work ethic behind it, it's not going to profit you anything. And so I know I'm not the richest, or definitely not the poorest, but I'm grateful for where I am in life. And so that's why I pour into Jackson the way that I do. Because me and Faith and I always say we have a testimony of where we came from today. It's nothing but God's grace to where I am today. Because I don't deserve to be here. I deserve to be down there, Jones, in the lounge for some of the stuff I've done. However, God spared His grace and mercy, and I'm able to sit here. But I definitely should be doing 20 years a lot.
You need to be an A-Pod. I need to be a P-Pod. Holocaust of Wonder.
Right, because I've done some stuff. But thank you to God, I didn't get caught in what I did. He shielded. And so that's why I'm not hard on other people, because I know where He brought me from. That's my little spiel, you all. So we're going to turn it over to our mayor candidate and allow him to tell you all why he's the person for the job and why you all should on June 3rd.
And let me shout out one more person, the Mike Magazine up there in the Delta. Mike Magazine, thank you for everything that you do. All right, so and look, I'm not going to even introduce the candidate. Y'all already know who the candidate is. I'm going to let him introduce himself and let him tell you about his next #1 hit that he just dropped.
What's up, y'all? I'm Zach Service, your independent candidate for mayor. We did just drop a new remix of Not Like Us called They Won't Bribe Us. I put out 2 clips of it so far on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and we'll have the full video dropping tomorrow at 12 noon on all platforms, including YouTube. And we're having a fun time making the corrupt people squirm.
And Zach, I have been, me and Brittany both, we've been watching your campaign, like, from the beginning. When I campaigned, one thing I said I want to do is I want to just be myself. Yeah. I want to be genuine, and I want to have fun with it. Mm-hmm. And I could tell you having fun with it. And so I think that's what more candidates should do. Yeah. You don't have to just walk around in the suit and be proper. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. But that's not what we need right now. Mm-hmm. We need somebody that can go in, roll their sleeves up, and can relate to people. Until you've been at the bottom.
From the top bit, like.
Yeah, and so you've been at the bottom. Then if when you have a person coming to you saying, "Hey, I don't have water, I don't have this, my neighborhood is like this," you can relate and you can feel it, and go along with it. So I want to commend you on having a good time while campaigning.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I'm having fun. Actually, it makes me think of a scripture.
Oh, Zach, you're popular. Mike Magazine said, "Is that Zach?"
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Angela, man. She be putting in work. You think she lives in Jackson?
She does.
The way she covers. But I'll tell you, I remember where the Bible says that we do not have a high priest who has not been touched with the feelings of our infirmities. And what that means is Jesus went through what we went through. He knows what it feels like when you're dealing with trouble. And the whole reason I ran this campaign is because of prayer and asking God, like, who will lead Jackson righteously and do right by people. So my first advice I got from one of my elders that told me that, yes, you should run was, Zach, make sure you take care of the poor, because no one else is doing that right now. So in my mentality is, it doesn't matter if my water is good. If there's still one person in Jackson, Mississippi that doesn't have running water or doesn't have a safe street or has gunshots going off down their street, which they're still going off down mine, but they matter, and we need to work tirelessly to solve those problems.
That's it. And me and Brittany are having the same conversation. What we see commonly in government is when we see our poor communities, nobody cares. When we look at Chapel Ridge Apartments, people can say, "Oh, I don't care because people over there don't even vote, and so I'm not going to go over there." But that's not right. You have to serve every single person, because that's how you bring people to the polls. Yes. When they see that you're out there, people don't trust elected officials. When they see they got elected officials out there, they're ready to go knock on doors and do whatever. That's the way you rebuild that trust. So, elected officials commonly get in, "I'm only going to help you if you vote."
And I want to commend you real quick. I know you're not going to do it, but Fabian came out to Chapel Ridge, and that's not even in his district. The person who leads and represents that district didn't show up. Fabian showed up and started putting in work. And I know because we were texting and calling the whole couple of days that was going on, because I was trying to make sure I talked with him. I talked with Mr. Hartley. I talked with some of the tenants, because that's how I found out the Waste Management used to have the contract there. So, look, it was really cool to see everyone work together. But I just want to commend you, Fabian, for the fact that even though that wasn't your district, you said it's still my city, and I'm going to show up.
Yes, and another thing, I think that's good to show people, like you say, everybody work together. Yeah. Because when, with Councilman Hartley, he was amazing. Yeah. and he's been longing for somebody to work with him and get it done. And I understand, like, so many times, Brittany, I tell you all the time, I call other elected officials, can you help me with, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. But when you find people that are willing to work together, that makes it easier. And so it makes the load lighter. So I represent a pretty small portion of South Jackson, but I tell folks in South Jackson, you live in South Jackson, you live in my district. I've adopted the whole South Jackson. The Byram, I represent a small portion of Byram. You live in Byram, I'm your representative. Right. Because we got to stop passing the buck along saying, that's not my area. I mean, like I just said, I only represent District 66. However, when I go in there and I vote on something, that affects everybody in this state. It's not going to affect only my people. So we got to make sure that we're giving equal representation to every single person.
Yep. That's actually part of my platform is accessibility, accountability, and affordability for every resident, regardless of your color, creed, or political affiliation.
That's what we're longing for in this city. So tell us a little bit about, oh gosh, I don't know where to start. Tell us about your first 100 days in office.
Yeah, so I'm the only candidate who ever actually answers that question because no one else knows what they're going to do. So first 100 days, we're hiring a public works director, provided God bless America that they'll take the job, because that's been the struggle is getting someone to actually take the job. But we're hiring a public works director. We're hiring at least one lead civil engineer. I want to hire 2 or 3 if we can make the budget work for it. I've already interviewed a couple, so I've got some ideas. I've already picked a new director for code enforcement, because right now they got like 6 supervisors and 2 community. It's too much top heavy. That we are getting rid of that. It's going to be 1 code enforcement director, and everyone else is working under them. And maybe we'll have like a manager or something that works under them.
So we have how many? Repeat. We have what's going on?
We have all about and the the spreadsheet with salaries they gave me. It's not even updated, so it's missing stuff. There's employees not on there, but we have about 15 to 17 code enforcement officers now. And like 6 or 7 of them are classified as supervisors. And then you have 2 community improvement supervisors who get paid more and are actually over those. Now, mind you, again, as usual, the salaries are still bad, right? They could be better, but the amount of work they're doing, the citizens aren't seeing it. So if code enforcement is putting in work, we're not seeing it. And that's one thing we're going to do day one is get a new director in there. We're going to get a new person directing the 911 dispatch center. We're going to start heavily investing in the 911 center, get the mold out of there, fix that facility. We're going to put the resident dashboard together. We're going to start building the mobile app. We're going to launch a forensic audit. We're going to create a position for a city auditor. And most cities have that. We're going to hire an auditor. We're going to immediately talk to the council and get the ball rolling on getting the state audits caught up. I mean, I can keep going, but I don't want to take too much of your time.
And back to 911 center. So a lot of people don't realize this, but we passed legislation this session, this past session for 911. That's like a surcharge. Is it like 15 cents, whatever it is?
It's on my phone bill. I pay it.
So that surcharge, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going in, giving municipalities money to upgrade their 911 systems.
And we need Americans going to actually use that money for the 911 system.
Absolutely. That's so important because with the new system, like I'm going to tell you, like in Madison, if you're in Madison and you dial 911 from your cell phone, it can geocode to figure out where you are. Hinds County and Jackson, we don't have that available technology.
Have you ever texted 911 in Jackson?
Never had.
The experience is terrible. It's so unprofessional.
Yeah.
When they were using temp services.
You caught me off guard with them.
I kid you not. They're like, it really be, can you call? Be easier if you call. I'm like, if I'm texting 911, it says I cannot call you.
Somebody might be in my house and I can't call.
I'm like, if it wasn't so, I mean, we have to laugh about it because otherwise you're just gonna break down crying when you realize there are people who call I never dreamt you'd call 911 and did not pick up.
Yeah. Now, kid you not, I had a constituent that told me, she said, Representative Nelson, because if somebody had shot at her house.
Oh, my God.
And I said, Miss So-and-so. I said, Miss So-and-so. I said, well, did you call 911? She said, Representative Nelson, I called and they had the whole music playing saying that your call would be answered. I'm like,
Dude, they will put you on hold for 911 in Jackson.
I didn't know that they had hold music. She said it was just like she thought she was calling Home Shopping Network.
It wasn't no hold. It's for someone on my page said we love Fabian Nelson here in Utica. He would be awesome to work with.
Absolutely. That's it.
Is that even your district?
So I do. I have part of Utica. Yeah, I shared it with Representative Foster. Mike Magazine say I tell folks that Fabian and Otis are my state representatives, Mike Magazine said Zach is wise beyond his years. I also believe he knows that politics can be nasty. He handles himself really well considering. Miss Mary
Thank you.
Bradley from Ohio, thank you so much. She said she wasn't on earlier. She said, hey to all of us. Jonathan Cantrell say, shaking my head. And Mr. James Hobson from Hobson Junk Removal said that the city of Jackson told him that he was not qualified to work for code
Oh,
enforcement
that was crazy.
after he's cleaned up 50% of the city and done
Look,
all the
man,
jobs.
hey, put your application in on serviceformayor.com/careers, man. I'll have that application at the front of the line when I get elected.
That's it. And
Because I'm tired of the people who do the work don't get hired, and the people who want to sit at a desk and do nothing get $90,000 salary.
you're qualified if you don't do any work, but if you do work, you're not. And that was my whole problem with Mr. Hobson. We were very vocal about it. For a person that's out here contributing, doing things in the city, not charging the city anything, and for somebody to say, you're not qualified. Number one, what are the qualifications can you have more so than out here doing a job, for free? I mean, I wasn't saying, he's going to be the new city engineer or
Right.
he's going to be this, but we have to start finding room for people that genuinely care.
You don't need a master's degree to pick up trash.
No,
You don't need a $400,000 contract to a Ridgeland company when you have folks like Locke Ward doing it, James Hobson doing it, Lee. But you got folks right here in Jackson, many of them minority-owned businesses that could be getting the contracts and these jobs.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we need to focus on and start getting back to. When we're talking about government, you have to have people that actually care.
Yep.
You can't have people that are looking for a paycheck. This is not, even politics, it's not about a paycheck. You have to genuinely care, because if you don't care, you don't really empathize with people. You don't see the need. All you see is just, I'm coming to a job and get a check.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Hobson, he's applying. He sent some strong, some muscles.
Yeah.
He's going to apply. That's it, Miss Bowman. Oh, but you quiet. She over here just laugh. Y'all, she over here eating all this can. Let me show y'all. This is what she over here laughing.
Listen, I got my background snakes. My back gonna be wide the rest of the summer, but when we start the campaign in December this year?
December next year.
Oh, next year.
2026.
I got a few more months I can be
So it's big back season.
It is. See, I got my snacks. I already ready.
While you can.
So my question is, communication, for the city, kind of like a natural flow.
Yes.
That has been absent for quite some time. I oftentimes tell Fabian to reach department heads, you got to go through about 2 receptionists, maybe 3 secretaries, and then a manager. Then you reach the director. And by that time, I forgot what I called for. I'm frustrated. I don't even care at this point. It's like whatever. So what would you do to change the normal operating procedure?
Yes. So what I will do, and I've already received agreement from people like Councilman Hartley, people like Councilman Foote, and many of the candidates, Ray McCants, Marcus Jackson, most of them I spoke with, Grace Green as well, Jasmine Barnes. They are committed to working with me to restructure the employee organization chart.
Okay.
Create new positions, eliminate a lot of the redundant positions, because you are correct. And being in organizational management for over a decade in both the private sector and in ministry, there's also often a lot of inefficiencies. I constantly, every time I came into a place, I had to reorganize stuff. We had to figure out what is not working, what is being wasted, where are there too many steps. That's how it is with the permitting process. I'm talking to business owners all the time. Like, it took me 3 weeks to get a permit, and by the time I was done the job, I still didn't have a permit.
Wow.
And I'm like, guys, this is insane. You should have your permit same day if it doesn't require a ton of extra documentation. Other cities can get you your permit same day.
Sure. In the city of Byron, it's the same day. You go down there, you pay your money, and they'll send an inspector out to get it done.
Wow.
It's
But
not hard.
one more suggestion for you would be something that's very, very simple that can really fix a lot of things
Yeah.
is, can you please put the phone numbers back on the website?
Man, not only that, but if you try to go to the
God,
website for public comment or to sign up for public comment, at a council meeting, it doesn't work. That's why I missed some meetings to speak.
It does.
I didn't realize my comments never came through.
Yeah, I mean, I can't understand any, not even municipality. I don't understand any business where you go in there, you can't find a directory.
Hey, shout out to Brady Hightower, Shawty Mac, man. Tell him to come back to Jackson just because your show didn't sold out. We still want you, man. We need you.
That's what we need.
Don't leave.
We do. And one more thing before we go, I forgot what was it I wanted to say. That's so much on my mind. It's so much on my
I've been up
mind.
y'all all night, so it's rolling.
I've been up
Give me a
all
few
night.
minutes, man. Take it.
That's it. What we're going to do is our show is going to end now. So reliable representation is over, but we're going to just hang around and live stream your
Yes.
30 minutes. How about that?
Let's do it, man.
So we're going to stay around, but we're going to let Zach take over. All of y'all listening out there, we appreciate every single thing y'all do. Thank y'all for listening to us. And we will just be sitting here hanging out with Zach for a little while. Anything else you want to say, church announcement later?
Yeah, I'm gonna be back next week with all the announcements. Election gonna be up. We're gonna be full fledged ahead the whole hour.
All right, and no singing. You ain't gonna sing no song.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to sing my song last Sunday. The show rained me out in Utica. This week I can't sing because I'm under the weather. I'm coming back next
God
week.
is
so
good. God is so
All the
good.
time.
All right, well, we're gonna turn it over
Suit on, that's why you talking.
Hey,
That's
and all
it.
the time.
all the time. God is good.
All right. Had to do it for the one time.
That's it. So we're gonna go. So he gonna end us and he'll bring you back on.
The views and policies of WMPR
He said,
Radio.
and so we're gonna continue live streaming. We'll keep on live streaming. Yeah.
Reserves the right to screen, edit, or
Hey,
refuse
y'all, got any
content that
questions?
does not align with our broadcast standards.
Or they can call in.
All right, everybody. So we're still here. Zach Service. He has a show going on now. We just don't kind of stick around because we see y'all questions and engagement.
What's
So
up, 90.1 FM? This is Zach Service, your independent candidate for mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, here with Representative Fabian Nelson and Brittany Bowman. We are talking about this election and what we can do as leaders in the community, and especially in politics and in city and state government to serve the people. So right now, there's some questions on my live stream. And I want to encourage anyone listening, if you have questions, please call in. Unlike many other political candidates, I am not afraid to answer direct questions and give you real answers with data. I'm not scared of hard questions. Oh, no time wasted. Let's see who we got. Yeah. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, how you guys doing in there? Hey, Fabian.
what's going on? Now look, my shoulder went off now. But hey, how you? I'm doing good. How
I
you
know,
doing?
but yours going off. But look, and I apologize, but I heard what the young man talking about. He's absolutely right. And the only comment that I have, please observe the police chief. He's going beyond and what he don't supposed to do to get these citizens safe. And I mean, he can't stop crime, but one thing he doing, he going to get the people that's doing the crime. And he out there mingling with the people. So just put that thought. I want all the male candidates that's listening, keep the chief in mind, because this is one of the best chiefs I've seen in a while, or just out there where these people at. So I'm gonna hang up and listen to you guys.
Thank you for that, sir. So to put many people's minds at ease, we'll just address the elephant in the room. I've had many people say in ignorance that when I get elected, because if you're not aware as a listener, my pigmentation is considered white. And many people are scared that because the current police chief does not look like me, that I will look for a new one. That's completely false. I've already said it many times publicly. As long as Chief Wade is willing to stay and willing to work twice as hard when he gets a mayor that will let him do his job for real, then I have no interest in replacing Chief Wade. I have interviewed with some other people for the position with the conversation that they would have to transition after Chief Wade is ready to step down, not before. So I have no interest in replacing Chief Wade. I actually am looking forward to empowering him to do far beyond what him and his department have already accomplished, and working together to also hold JPD accountable. You know, I love to see how even with this situation that broke out at Walmart, that they were quickly placed those officers on administrative leave, but they didn't put a smear campaign out. They didn't make premature comments, and we saw what really caused that issue. And I'm very grateful to the work Chief Wade has done. I think we got another call trying to come in. We're going to let the producer get back to the phones and see. Try calling back in again, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. One person asked me a question: what qualifies me? What's my experience? So I have over a decade of experience here in Jackson, managing restaurants, leading contact centers for large companies. If I said the name, you'd know who they are. Working with as a business owner and entrepreneur, and actually as a Uber and Lyft driver for 6 years. One way I learned so much about the city was by driving literally every street in the metro area. But I've managed large organizations, various budgets, worked with diverse teams, and then I have a decade of concurrent experience in ministry leadership, managing church production teams, worship teams. I was the online pastor for a church for a while during COVID. That was a very big transition, a young adult pastor. And everywhere I went, we saw continued growth. We would find the inefficiencies. We would find the resources that weren't being used well. And we would create systems and teams that worked. So let's see this call coming in. Let's take that call and then we'll get back.
All right, he'll
All
kick
right.
it over in a minute.
All right, just hold on 1 second. We're working on getting the phone line. Okay, you're on the air.
There is no call in the queue.
Nope, there's no call. Hold on. It said there's no call in the queue.
Oh, man. You can keep on going.
Okay, it looks like they're trying to work that out. Technical difficulties on the end of the caller, perhaps. But I literally everything I've done in my whole life has been leadership, even since being a child. So my website, serviceformayor.com, has more about my about. Let's take this call real quick, and let's see what questions we have. Is it working?
He's trying to get him over here.
Okay, we trying to get the caller on the line.
I'll let you know when it comes through. Oh,
Okay.
here we go.
Here it comes. All right, I think you're on the air.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're doing great.
How you doing?
We're doing well. How can I help you? What's your question, sir?
Okay, you're speaking something about Chief Wade. What? I didn't catch it.
Okay. Yes, sir. I simply said many people have asked and said they want me to consider keeping Chief Wade. I've already said I have no intention of getting rid of Chief Wade as long as he's doing the work that he's supposed to do. And I believe when I'm elected as mayor, we're going to have much more empowerment for JPD to do the work they need to do and get these criminals off the streets, make Jackson safer. And I fully expect that Chief Wade will be up to the task, as well as those serving under him, because it's not just the chief that makes Jackson great and JPD great, it's the whole entire team. But I have no plans of replacing Chief Wade.
You have no plans of doing what now? Slow it down.
I do not intend to replace Chief Wade. I intend to keep him as the police chief.
I appreciate if you do.
Yes,
The
sir.
book says you reap what you sow.
Absolutely.
Chief's doing a very good job with what he's working with. Don't have no help. It's just like walking a bunch of bees. The man doing a tremendous job. He needs over 2,000 police with what's going on here in Jackson.
Yes,
Ain't
sir.
nobody gonna come here and take shit on the court. If you got a business, some fellas walking down the hall in machine guns they got and so forth, and he can't do nothing about it. They got to change the law.
Yes, sir. You're absolutely correct. Thank you for your call. I'll address what you just said in a moment.
Thank you for taking my call, my brother.
Thank you so much. Yes, what he said is exactly right. He's doing the work. Chief Wade is doing the work. And I personally believe I've got some other leadership positions and departments that I want to replace. Chief Wade is not one of them. You can put your minds at ease on that. So,
Got a question for you.
all right, Fabian, that's a question.
All right, so Mr. Ron Brown says, talk about the plans for downtown development, Ferris Street, Zoo.
Yeah, they can't hear you yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. So Mr. Ron Brown says he wants you to talk about the plans for downtown development, Ferris Street, Zoo, and Metro Center.
And Metro Center. Okay, so basically West Jackson and downtown Jackson plans. Yes, great question. So for Ferris Street, first of all, we got to figure out how all this money keeps coming into investments and disappearing in litigation. I want to develop Ferris Street, but I could never in good conscience put any money into it until we figure out how can we keep getting millions of dollars and it never does anything. So we got to get that whole whatever they got going on with that, and we got to find out where that money's going and actually execute on a plan for Ferris Street. So I don't really want to spend much time on that because we got to do some research to figure out where the money's already gone for Ferris Street. But when it comes to the zoo, I originally wanted to just shut it down. Then I met with ZAP and I met with some different leaders, including candidate for Ward 5, Ray McCants, and had some conversations. And I truly believe the zoo is a victim of intentional disinvestment. So I believe we have to do, one, not build a $500,000 amphitheater in Livingston Park first. We need to take that money and invest it into the zoo itself. Make sure we're properly paying the zookeepers, get someone directing the zoo that is up to the challenge, And I actually want to partner with ZAPP to have one of them get a contract with the city and write grants. Like they're asking, like, let us work for you. And they're not asking for a large amount. I think they say like a $40,000-$50,000 salary, and they will they will work to bring in the money like they're already doing. There's people in that group already rehabbing houses off like Alabama and Virginia Street and all that stuff. So I want to not just work on the zoo, but the entire West Capitol Street corridor, because no one's going to come just for the zoo right now. You've got to create an entire area. I would do it similar to kind of like Fondren, but more unique to that area of West Capitol. And what was the last spot?
One question for you. So
Yeah.
back to the zoo again. So I'm glad you brought it up about the $500,000 amphitheater.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I don't understand is why would they agree to put that at the city zoo when just on the news last week we're hearing that across from the convention center they're trying to do the same thing?
Personally, I think it's just contractors, because if you run the numbers, it's way too much fat in those contracts. I think that the city is just looking for opportunities to make some more money for certain people's pockets.
Okay, yeah, because I said it's not really a need for two of them.
No, I'm a professional in the audio visual event production. Like I went from Dueling Hall tonight and came here from setting up a concert event.
Mhm.
You don't need $500,000 for what they were proposing, and it didn't even have lots of structural things that you need for a proper performance space.
I mean, honestly, I thought
I wouldn't want to perform on that space.
when I looked, I said they can go to Sam's and get a gazebo. I mean, that's what
all it was.
I
Was
mean,
a
honestly,
glorified gazebo.
yeah,
They're
that's what
calling
it
it an
was.
amphitheater because of the seating
Yeah,
arrangement.
they can use my Sam's card to give me points. So I was like,
I'll
keep
get you to
on.
Costco. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Metro Center was the next
Metro
one.
Center. We don't own a lot of it anymore, but I do have a plan. Part of it is I'd like to, and I want to give credit where credit's due. One of my endorsements comes from local minority business owner Marcus Coleman of Link Tech and Link Geek, and they have a great idea, man. I talked with him, and he would love to see a contact center for one of these large companies like Netflix or something get placed in part of there, and the rest of it be used for small local businesses to fill up. And we use that to create revenue alongside the film studio that's in there. Then we work on eventually one day, maybe a larger vision for that space. But right now we need to take advantage of something for businesses, right?
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize this, but years ago, before I got to the legislature, they passed a lot of legislation to make Mississippi business friendly for the moving and movie industry, tax incentives, all different things. They have money available for that. When we look across the South, Atlanta with Tyler Perry Studios, isn't that the largest studio in the country now? They're producing a lot of movies over there. Now, Mr. Chris Williams just put a question in. He said, plans for the zoo. He says, tear it down, clear it all for community gardens and parks. I mean, what do you think about that?
No, absolutely not. We don't need a 2.5 acre community garden. That would be a terrible waste of resources. Not that the idea is bad, but that's an idea when you have everything you need in the city in a blank check. We do not have that, but we have more land on the zoo that can be developed for such things, which I do have ideas for that. I won't go into detail on air, but I will tell you, go to service, that's SERVIS for mayor.com, serviceformayor.com, and you can find out all about those plans. When I talk about one question that I brought in, West and South Jackson has burned and dilapidated properties that are unsightly, dangerous, and bring property values down. What are my intentions to clean up neighborhoods and make them safe? So dealing with blight, Mr. Nelson, you know this, the state tried to offer us approximately $14 million specifically earmarked to eliminate blight.
Yes.
And the current administration sent it back because they said the administrative cost for clearing titles per property was $500 too high. And rather than renegotiate the way the money was laid out, they just said, we don't want it. And I personally believe that's because they wanted to take the money, and the way it was laid out, they wouldn't be able to do so. So that being said, in the Zach Service Administration, we are taking every dollar the state gives us, as long as it's not attached to something that's not in the better interest of our city. And we are going to use every dollar we have. And we're going to stop using so many contractors for stuff that city employees can do. So one of the biggest things we're going to do when we hire that public works director and those civil engineers, we're going to put city employees on the job demolishing buildings. We do want to work with local businesses, but we're not paying the rates that we're paying some of these contractors. We're not going to spend $15,000 to clear a property that can be cleared for $4,000. That's stopping under a ZAG service. We're not doing no bid contracts on everything anymore. Anything we can bid out, we're bidding out. Yes, Fabian.
You know, when we look at big cities, that's what big cities do. they have the manpower to handle demolition
Yep.
on their own. Now we're talking about like Byron, Mississippi. Of course, it wouldn't be beneficial
No.
for us to have equipment. It's cheaper and easier for us to just pay the money to have it demolished. But when we talk about a community that's plagued,
Yes.
and that's going to provide jobs for people, and it's going to get the job done
I
and
mean,
save taxpayers
not
money.
to make any false promises, but I imagine that if we have another opportunity from the state even to have funding like that, and we are able to take it under my administration, I can see us clearing 100 properties in 90 days. I mean, it's not that hard, guys. They're lying to you when they tell you we don't have resources and we don't have the manpower. It's because they intentionally let it get that way. It's not true. We can do this.
We just transferred, I want to say, $5 million last night over to the Secretary of State for tax forfeited blighted properties to provide grants to municipalities for that reason. So,
Wow.
and Jackson will apply. Mr. Jonathan Contrell has put a question, said, what's your plans for the fire department?
Okay, so I don't want to let all the
Doesn't it?
cats out the bag for the fire department. I've got a lot of folks support me in the Jackson Fire Department. But I will say that I believe the leadership needs to change. I think the leadership has failed JFD from the top down. And I believe also, our training academy is a joke. They just give them the answers to tests.
What?
Go ask anyone who works there.
This is what state or the
This is the Jackson
Jackson.
Fire Academy.
They
Okay.
give the answers to the.
It is some crazy stuff going on. Allegedly, I don't need to get a lawsuit. Allegedly, that's what's happening. There's a lot of things. They have folks who were drunk and are still on the force, drunk driving, fire engine. Yep, insane amount of unprofessionalism, and the good firefighters have to deal with this stuff. So we're coming in and we're cleaning house when it comes to JFD. I want to make that very clear. We're going to find the good ones and we're going to let them have promotions. We're going to put them in positions because right now it has been told to me allegedly that the chief of the fire department gets bonuses for cutting things out of the budget, which would make sense why while Chief Wade is making asks, the fire department is always getting left crumbs because they're not coming and asking for more money because that means a bonus check doesn't make it to the chief's desk. And you should do a public records request to find out if that's true or not.
That is awful. Have another question.
Yep.
Mr. Cole Hahn says, what are your plans for the airport and the airport board of commissioners?
Yes. So again, my name is Zach Service. I'm an independent candidate for Mayor of Jackson. You can visit my website, www.servisformayor.com to hear my comprehensive plan for the city. When it comes to the airport and the board, we are failing miserably. Most people think that this fight for the airport is real. It's not. Right now, the airport is worth money, but it's not making money right now. It's actually it lost over $2 million last year. They padded the numbers by using capital construction grant funding to make it look like they made money, but that's not what that is. And right now we're wasting property. We're not doing what we could with it. So for one, we're going to fix the doggone escalators. that's for one.
And
Two,
elevators too?
We're going to start looking for investors to invest on the land around it. And then if the state decides they want to come to the table and say, hey, we really badly would like a vested interest in this because of where it's located, we will listen to what they have to offer. But I have no interest in giving up control of the airport at this time. I don't think it's in the best interest of Jackson. I don't think the offers have been high enough. The alleged offers I heard are just abysmally below the value of our airport. And I personally think we stand to gain more if we just actually invest in the airport, make sure that the board members are actually working for the best interest. Right now, the money is not being accounted for very well. There's a lot of fudging of the numbers, just like it is at City Hall. So for one, we're going to be evaluating every board member, and not just for that. When it comes to Jackson School Systems, we're reevaluating those boards too. Because right now we're paying the superintendent close to $400,000, and he's paid more than the state superintendent. And that's not to take away from any of the work he does, but the statistics are not accurate when they tell you that JPS is just doing amazing. They're not. You got third graders in there who can't read, and I'm friends with these teachers, so I know what's really going on in these schools. And they're using specific schools to funnel numbers a certain way. But we are, again, my platform is accessibility, accountability, and affordability for every resident, regardless of your color, your creed or affiliation, or which school district you're in. So we want to make sure that whether or not you're in a school in North Jackson, East, West, or South, whether or not you're in one of the more impoverished areas of the city, or you're in a place that's doing great financially, we're going to make sure that you have opportunities to have access to the same service from your city.
Absolutely, that's right. I do see, I guess, a few people in the fire department saying that they said they don't give the answers to the test. Jackson Fire Department, they're not giving the answers. So
Okay, well, we'll see
ho-
who's lying about it.
hopefully they're not giving the answers out to the test. So hopefully not. We want to make sure that our fire department, our officers our fire department officers are, getting adequately trained. And so airport. Now, another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the airport, when we look at state appropriations, I know these past 2 years, we have not appropriated any money to the Jackson Airport. There are some federal appropriations. I want to say it was about $50 million in federal money, but we needed a match. We needed the state to match it. I want to say I think it was $5 million that they needed us to match it, and they would have gotten money. And so there's money out there. So that's going to take, once again, relationships.
Yeah.
So, you have to have relationships. People have to realize that nothing can get done in solidarity.
Yep.
I mean, you can't say, "Oh, I'm the mayor and I'm the ruler and I can do whatever I want to do." If you don't have relationships with the state and on the federal level,
Yes.
The city is going to get left behind.
And you're correct. And the senator that's in this race is not the only person who has relationships or the ability to build them. I've never been in politics, and all it took was a phone call and a text to have a meeting with Representative Fabian Nelson. He made himself very accessible, and he didn't put strings attached. He didn't say, "Well, you can't go out and say this if I want to have a conversation with you," or "I need to know where you stand." No, he didn't. He just said, "Let's talk. Let's see what we can do for the residents of Jackson, whether I win or not." That was not a part of the conversation when I first spoke with him, and it still isn't. He has been available, say, "Hey, if I have a question about something at the state level," he answers me promptly. And I'm just now starting to build relationships before even being elected. So it's not hard to build a relationship. Folks act like it's difficult. It's only difficult if your motives aren't right.
Absolutely.
We have a current administration that fights with the people that they should be working with that would help the residents of Jackson. So for me, I really think I'm actually probably going to be one of the most relationship heavy mayors in the history of Jackson, because I'm in real independent. I can work with Republicans and Democrats, and I owe allegiance to no one but the tax-paying residents of Jackson. And I think I'm in position to serve the people well.
That's true. Another thing that we have people say all the time, it burns me up, is the city of Jackson will not get any money because it's a chocolate city. It's a black mayor. Black mayor's not getting money. But if you get on I-20 West and go over to Vicksburg, Mississippi, where we have Mayor George Flaggs, they're getting money in Vicksburg. Industries coming to Vicksburg because of his relationships.
Yes.
Mayor Flaggs, had a friend that was up in DC not too long ago, so they saw Mayor Flaggs up there meeting with the delegation to ask for money.
Yes.
And so we got to get away from that. It's not about Jackson being a chocolate city.
Yes.
It's about having people in leadership that are actually able to lead and do what's best with the money to build a city up. Because Jackson, the state legislature, the capital, cares about the city of Jackson, because all of our members spend at least 3 to 4 months out of the year residing in Jackson while we're in session. And Ms. Bowman, I'm gonna move to you for a second. I want you to answer this. I hope you don't mind. So Mr. Chris Williams said that teachers can't make students want to learn. That's the parents' jobs. Teachers can only do so much.
Well, my comment for that is simply, I agree with the statement. I've worked in education, I worked in secondary before I came to post-secondary. And what I do want to say is, you alluded to several things, Mr. Service, in regards to JPS and the administration and the things that goes on. And I'm a very transparent person. I'm a very straightforward, honest person. You have to be in JPS in order to know what goes on there. I spent about 8 years. No, I'm telling a lie. I spent 10 years in JPS. I went there straight out of college as an intern. Worked my way up from an instructional assistant all the way to an academic tutor until I received several degrees. And I want to say this, and I have a mentorship based off those same premises about the third graders can't read. There are a large proportion of third graders that are in JPS that cannot read. Now, there are some that are fluent readers that are above grade average or whatever. And I know that they will have a tendency, they didn't do that while I was there, but they will have the APEC and IB schools to over their scores to overshadow those low performing schools. And that's to make certain that the numbers average out and you don't show the downplaying of those who are scoring low in the academics. The parents do have a big job. But the parents' job is to teach and train their children. But when they get to that facility, it's time for the teacher to get in gear and nurture. Baby and I always talk about we came up as children. We talked about this just last week during graduation. Teachers really dressed like they were principals, they were doctors. The dress code reflected, I am coming here for business.
It's prestigious to be a teacher.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
I look at my son in school and I see teachers, they have flip-flops on, they got jeans on, it's during the week. And I oftentimes would get on Facebook and say, why are you so dressed up? Why are you so dressed up? Me and my sisters would have a conversation. They was like, well, that's what you do on the weekend. I said, well, he just overly dressed, and he brought out a good point. How do you want the person that's representing you to look? It says a lot about you. So again, to allude to you, Zach, education needs a lot of focus in
It
Jackson.
does. And I'm the only
Especially
candidate who put out a
Jackson
plan for it.
Well, that's good because
Yeah.
our education system is definitely suffering. So the teachers has a job, I agree, and the students have a job, and the parents have a job. But when those students enter those doors between 7 and 3, it's for the teacher to get in gear. If you don't like what you're doing, it's Fabian tell me all the time, you knew what that salary was before you took the job. So now you can't complain about the salary, the children are bad. Look at the dynamics of the area in which you're going to be teaching. South Jackson has a very vast majority, as you alluded to, poor people.
Yeah.
So you're going to get those kids that still in kindergarten saying ABC or can't spell their name on, kindergarten handwriting paper. That's for the teacher to do.
And it has to be a calling, whether you're a teacher, whether you're in politics. I mean,
Correct.
that's literally why I believe I'm in this race, was because I felt God called me to this race, because it was not in my best interest to get into this election. And this is what the culture I'm setting for every city employee, because I've had so many people reaching out, applying to work in my administration.
Really?
They use serviceformayor.com/careers. You can apply right now, and your resume will be presented to who I appoint over human resources day one.
Wow.
Because I want people who they are passionate about serving people. It's not just because my last name is Service, but you should be a servant leader. Hashtag serve with service. That's SERVIS. Serviceformayor.com. But we're coming to a close here. We have about a minute left to the end of the hour. So I want to encourage everyone. Vote for accessibility, accountability, and affordability. I'm asking for your vote on June 3rd, because look, we can keep making the excuse, well, they're not going to vote. We know you got the best plan. We know you're the best candidate, but they're not going to vote for you because you're young. You're not them. Don't let someone else. What your parents teach you? If someone else jump off a bridge, you're going to jump off of it too? And I was scared of heights. So I said, no, Mom, I'm definitely not going to do that. So look, if every single person, 75% of our registered voters didn't vote. So if you take the mentality of, I'm going to make the decision I know is best for the city, not based on what someone else is, but based on what I know to be best, then we will get everybody on the same picture, and we'll be able to move Jackson forward and make it a city where every dream has a home.
Well, I have two announcements that just came to me late that one constituent mentioned, Zach. And so when you appoint your person or whoever's going to delegate the education component, South Jackson, Forest Hill, has been called the University of South Jackson. I want to put emphasis on that. I heard that yesterday at graduation as well.
Mhm.
I'm a diehard South Jackson
Sweet.
fan, love South
Congratulations.
Jackson. I love South Jackson. But a 4-year high school will not give you what a 4-year secondary education is going to give you.
Mm.
Forest Hill, I love y'all. Right there on my thoroughfare from Southwood to Forest Hill, those were my academic stomping grounds. But we got to call it what it is. It's a high school, you all. We can all parade around what we want it to be, but keep the logistics in perspective. That's my first thing. So make sure, whoever your person is, you designate to let them know. You could be original and create creativity with your schools, but it's going to have to be targeted a different way. And then Jackson State is having if you know anyone for childcare, I know that's going to be something on your radar. Did you all cut childcare funding? Because I know that'll be something for Zach.
I need to look at that budget. That's a child. I need to look at that budget and get back with you.
Okay, so our final comment, you all, is Jackson State is having their High Quality Directors Child Care Institute June 24th through the 25th. It'll be at the location on Ridgewood Road, 3825 Ridgewood Road. You all, please make certain that you all, as Zach said, survey your candidates June 3rd. Go to the ballot box.
All right, y'all, we're going to head it back. You're listening to 90.1 WNPR. Thank you for listening. This is Zach Service, your independent candidate for mayor. We'd love to have your vote June 3rd. Good night.
All right, 2-hour streaming audience. There's a lot of questions coming in. Zach, what we're going to do is we're going to just do it live. We'll get
All right,
together.
let me slide closer.
So we're going to get a day together.
Okay,
And we're going to do a live show because we got a lot of
Yeah.
questions coming in.
Yeah.
So y'all, he's coming back and we'll schedule and we'll get back on live. We ran out of time. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all take care. Any final thoughts, Zach, to the people out there?
Hey, y'all, Don't just vote your conscience, vote your research. Go to serviceformayor.com. That's SERVIS for mayor.com and go do your research. You ain't going to find another candidate with a plan for more than just crime and infrastructure. We got a plan for the future too.
All right. Y'all heard it from the man, and we'll get
Hey,
the
y'all.
announcement out to
Thank you
y'all
so
real
much for
soon.
watching.
Look at this.